Hi everyone, this is Nat here from the Nextwork team, and today we are doing a hands-on project on visualizing data with Amazon QuickSight. How is everyone doing? Saying hi to everyone that's tuning in live, saying hi to everyone in the chat. I hope you're having a good day and I hope you're feeling ready to learn with a new hands-on project. How have you found the Beginner's Challenge so far? This project is day 2 of the Beginner's Challenge, so if you've come here straight after doing day 1, I hope you're enjoying AWS so far. If this is actually your very first project, just know that the Beginner's Challenge is here to help you get started with AWS and kickstart a portfolio. Now, visualizing data with QuickSight is a favorite. It's an absolute favorite because it's super hands-on and you get to create something beautiful. Do you want to see what you get to create? You create something like this by the end of this project. And you get to do all this in about 1 hour. So we're going to learn how to use a tool called QuickSight in the world of AWS that will help process your data and help you visualize it using different kinds of charts and graphs. Okay, so today we're going to analyze a huge data set of Netflix shows and movies to create that dashboard. Even if you're not familiar with data analysis, QuickSight is designed to be beginner friendly. It takes about just an hour or 2 if you're one of those detailed people that like to really look into the visuals and try something new. And the game plan is pretty clear. You know, we've got 7 steps in today's project. The main parts are for us to first sort out the data. What is the data that we're trying to analyze today? Second one, let's set up QuickSight. QuickSight does require a bit of an account setup process, so we'll take you through that step by step. Third one, connect your data with QuickSight. So once you have your data ready, you have QuickSight ready, the third one is to make them like shake hands so you can start analyzing the data. And then number 4 is where you get a little bit creative and you start creating charts, you start having fun, you start playing around with the data, and this is where you can go wild and honestly go off project guide and create your own kinds of analysis of the data here today. And then here we've got another last bit of this project, which is to publish that dashboard. So this is where you can actually make your dashboard public and accessible to other people, and you can also export it as a PDF so you can save it and share it with other people too. So yeah, this is a bit of the journey that we're about to go on. You've got your data, you're going to store it in S3, you're going to connect that data with QuickSight so you can create some analysis and charts to put together a dashboard. Ooh. And yeah, like I mentioned before, this project is project 2 of our AWS Beginners Challenge. So in this challenge, you will get started with AWS, you get some hands-on projects, and you also get to kickstart a hands-on project portfolio. We don't expect any experience, so 0 experience required, and it's designed for absolute beginners. So all of the projects we're doing here today is free tier eligible, so you can do it for free. And it also comes with step-by-step guidance, so you won't be left guessing, oh, what do I do next? We all start somewhere, and I really truly feel like this challenge is a great place to start. So today we're going to be going for the step-by-step guidance version of this project, but you can absolutely, find yourself graduating to some guidance eventually, or on your own when you're ready to do the entire project without step-by-step guidance, just the general vibe of like, okay, have you checked off these milestones? I always start with the step-by-step guidance with everyone here, and then when you're ready on your own, you can click into the other 2 tracks. I highly recommend doing that so you can really challenge yourself and test your learning. Okay, so if you want documentation for your project today, make sure that you are answering all of the questions, and as you complete the tasks in this project, you will automatically get documentation generated based on your responses. Awesome. So I hope you're all feeling ready to learn. Oh my gosh, let me refresh this page. Oh. Let me refresh my page one more time. Oh, 1 second, team. Oh, so good to see everyone here. What the heck? That's exciting. Hi, everyone. Just 1 second. I just realized there's something that's stuck in my project guide, and I'll just quickly need to update it on my end. So in the meantime, I hope all of you are having the project guide open in front of you, or if you haven't yet, check out the Beginner's Challenge. You know, the Beginner's Challenge, the introduction for that challenge also comes with a special bonus project that you can do to get to know about AWS a little bit more, to get to know about, what was I going to say? To get to know about AWS and cloud computing a little bit more too. So I highly recommend it. Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, so good to see everyone here. So this is I'm just gonna put up this little visual of our project guide here today while you all get sorted, get set up. Sorry about the wait, team. In the meantime, I'm just getting set up with my project guide myself too. Awesome. Thanks for the wait, team. I'm just getting set up with the project guide on my own computer, which is so funny. I thought I had it already until I realized there was still something that was missing. So I'm almost ready, team. How about everyone? Do you all have the project guide in front of you? I hope so. Let me know. All right. All right then. I think we'll just get started. I think this is gonna be okay. So I'm just gonna do a cheeky refresh. And we'll just get straight into it, team. All right then. Okay, let's get into it. Thanks so much for waiting, everyone. Okay, so as we've recapped, this project is completely beginner friendly, and you know what? I'm gonna ask you, what are we here to do today, everyone? It's always good to understand exactly what we're here to do today before we get started. So do you think you can explain what this project's about in just 1 or 2 sentences? That's a bit of a morning challenge, or the start of the project challenge for everyone. Pause this video, have a go at it, and I'm gonna answer right here as well too. Cool. So in this project, we will demonstrate how to use Amazon QuickSight to analyze data and generate visualizations. We're doing this project to learn. Do you know what we're here to learn? We're here to learn how to use cloud services, cloud data services for data analysis. And you know what? Let's be specific. We're going to use Amazon QuickSight to analyze Netflix data and generate visualizations and insights about the data. Very cool. So if you're up for a bit of a challenge, let's quiz ourselves on the key concepts of this project today. Here's our quiz. We got 5 questions to go. Everyone in the chat here, let's try to tackle these questions together. First things first, why is it important to uncheck the Add Paginated Reports option when setting up your QuickSight account? Ooh, this one's a tricky one. I'm gonna guide us through this question today because I do think this one requires a bit of context. And the context is that when you set up your QuickSight account, there's a cheeky little button there that says Add Paginated Reports. And that thing is ticked by default. So I'm glad we're talking about this right now, actually. Because when you see that box, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go uncheck it. Like, I don't wanna see a checkbox next to the words Add Paginated Reports. We want to leave that checkbox empty because if you check it, it's gonna start charging you a bit of money to your account, and we've had students leave it checked when they set up their account. You don't actually need this add-on at all. QuickSight is just being a little smart, a little evil genius by leaving it checked for everyone when you set up your account. So let's avoid being charged for paginated reports during the free trial, and when you set up your QuickSight account, which we're about to do in about step 3 of this project, just uncheck that, okay? It's free to uncheck, and it costs money to keep that thing there. So let's uncheck that box in a second. What is the main function of the manifest.json file in this project? Ooh, we'll get to know about this one in step 2 of this project today. There is a file called manifest.json that's a part of this QuickSight and S3 connection that we're setting up. What do you think? So a manifest.json isn't just used in QuickSight and S3, by the way. It's used all the time in data transfer. So we actually talk about manifest.json in some of our other projects too, when there's a data transfer involved. So have a look at these options and tell me what you think. So does manifest.json file A configure the S3 bucket to allow public access to the data? Does it B contain the direct URL to the Netflix CSV data? C, does it provide the necessary security credentials for QuickSight to access S3? D, it tells QuickSight the structure and format of the data in the CSV file. Yo, I feel like this one's a bit of a tricky question, so if you're feeling a bit stumped by it, we'll get to know a lot better in this project, so there's nothing to worry about. So what do you think? A, B, C, D, what will be the main function of a manifest.json file in this project? Saying hi to everyone in the meantime. Hello everyone. We got Gangada here, Shy Sinister's here, hey, Franklin's here, and Francisco's here as well. It's 2:45 a.m. for some of us. That's crazy, Gangada. It's been awesome seeing you here week after week, so thank you so much, and a big shout out to you. Francisco says, next work, I would like to translate your channel in my league. Yo, that's awesome. What is your league about, Francisco? So awesome to meet you here, by the way. Anything but another study with me. Oh, all right, I caught your vibe. I caught your vibe. I remember, I think you've requested another study with me before. And we have actually been experimenting and thinking about study with me's with typing sounds. So, damn, thank you for the request one more time. I think it's very clear what you like. So thanks for sharing that. Okay, we've got a suggestion here. Shall we try C, Gangada? Let's give it a go. Yeah, tricky, eh? Isn't manifest.json tricky? So what's going on here is that the manifest file does not contain any credentials. Manifest.json is used in data transfer all the time because it tells the receiver of the data what is the structure and the format of the data that is to come. And that's why D is actually the correct answer today. Okay. What is the primary purpose of using filters in Amazon QuickSight visualizations? Filters in general, so helpful in the spreadsheet, so helpful when I'm shopping online, and no different in Amazon QuickSight. So is it A, to narrow down the data? B, optimize the performance of your dashboard? C, to control access to your dashboard? Or is it D, to change the color scheme of your visualizations? Oh, my hair's funny today. What do you think is the purpose of filters? And by the way, Gangada, shout out to you. I'm glad we got an error, because Gangada, you've been getting us correct everything so far. It's great to also demo what happens when the answer is incorrect, actually. So thank you for that. But what's the point of filters? Why do we use filters? What do we think? Ooh, we got B here from Gangada. What do we think? Should we give it a go? What is the purpose of filters in visualizations? So close. I think filters can indirectly improve performance by reducing the amount of data processed. But the reason why we use filters isn't quite for performance reasons. We would use filters to narrow down data. So a filter is kind of like a funnel. You know, if all the data is at the top, the filter is like this little funnel that makes sure the data you see is like a very specific part of the data. And you know, if you have data about the entire world and you only want to see data that's related to a specific part of the world, you would use filters to say, hey, I only want to see specific parts of the world. And you would use a filter to like set that up. But yeah, filters can be used on all different kinds of things. Ooh, what sequence of steps is used to connect your S3 bucket to QuickSight? What sequence of steps is used to connect your S3 bucket to QuickSight? Is it dashboards to new dashboard to S3? Is it analysis to new analysis to S3? Visuals, create visual and an S3. Datasets, new dataset and an S3. This is a crazy one to try answer before you do a project. Because this is talking about what buttons are you clicking on to get to connecting your S3 bucket. So I feel like if you get this question right, you're either a bit of a step genius or you've done this project before. Or you're very good at guessing. You know, 1 in 4 chance. You know? Gangada, I have belief in you. So what sequence of buttons are we clicking on to connect our S3 bucket with QuickSight? This one's tricky, man. I wonder what we're gonna guess. In the meantime, Francisco was saying, you would like to translate the channel in Brazilian Portuguese? What project would you translate first? Which project? Oh, I'm so excited about that. That will be amazing. I can't wait to see that already. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to spoil it for us, and I'm going to randomly pick. I don't know what I pick. Okay, I picked something that's A. All right, so yeah, the sequence of steps is a tricky one. The correct answer is D, but yeah, dashboards, new dashboard S3, we're not going to worry too much about the sequence of steps. If you're really thinking about, oh, what is the correct answer? It's to select the dataset option when you're in QuickSight. But let's do that when we're actually in the project. What is the primary purpose of using Amazon S3 in this project? Oh, why is S3 here? Why is S3 here? Why can't we just go dataset QuickSight dashboard? You know? Why can't I just upload my dataset into QuickSight and then go straight to the dashboard? What do you think? Okay, so is S3 here to host Amazon QuickSight, like run the app? Is Amazon S3 here to perform some complex calculations for us? Is S3 here to directly connect to a database for real-time data updates? Or is S3 here to store the dataset and manifest.json file for QuickSight to access? What are we using S3 here for? What does S3 do? It helps to think about what is S3 as a service, and S3 is a popular storage service, as a little tip. Awesome. So the correct answer for this one today is D, to store the dataset in manifest.json file for QuickSight to access. Thank you, Gangadal, for the tip. That really helped us. There we go. That's perfect. Amazon S3 is used for storing data. So we are going to store the data in S3, and then QuickSight will pull the data from S3 to analyze it there. Now, storing data in S3 is a great idea because S3 is a storage service, so you can actually use the power of S3 abilities to, one, manage who can actually upload data and access the data. You can also use S3 to say, I want to store the different versions of my data. And you can also use S3 to easily access the file that you want to upload, because it's not just the console where you can access S3. Don't forget, you can actually access S3 over the CLI using commands in the terminal. This is for more advanced AWS users. And that gives you a lot more options, when it comes to your data and storing your data. A bit more flexible than trying to upload things directly into QuickSight. All right, team. My screen just flashed for a second, so I hope you can see me okay. But yeah, this happens every time I try to charge my computer. But all right, we got 2 answers correct today. Let's see how many we can get correct by the end of this project, because we're going to get one more quiz. I'm excited for that one. All right, step 1 is so easy. Beat me to it. Okay, step 1 is about downloading your data today, because we're here to analyze some data. So let's download the data we're here to analyze. All we got to do is download 2 files. One is called netflixtitles.csv and one is called manifest.json. Okay, so let's right-click, let's select Save Link As, and let's save this file into our downloads folder. So this netflixtitles.csv contains all the data we're analyzing today, and manifest.json, I know we just talked about it in the quiz, but really it's all about just telling the receiver of the data what is the structure and the format of the data that's to come. So it's a bit of like a communication tool, manifest.json. It tells hey, I'm about to send you some data. This is how it's structured. This is what to expect. And it lets the receiver of the data prepare around okay, this is how I should open up this file and read the file that's inside. It's pretty cool. And that's it. Step 1 done. We've downloaded our data. So let's move on to step 2 now. Let's store the data in Amazon S3. So time to put our dataset in the cloud. We're going to use S3 to store the files, and that makes it really easy for QuickSight to access our files later. In this step, we're going to create an S3 bucket to store your dataset files. And then we're going to upload the CSV file, which means the dataset that we downloaded, into the S3 bucket. And then we're going to modify and upload the manifest.json file to your bucket. Ooh, so really what this step is trying to say is, in this step, we're going to set up the storage bucket, we're going to upload the files, and then we're going to update one of the files that we upload. Okay, so set up bucket, upload files, edit one of the files. Great. In this step, your turn. I just said it twice, what we're here to do in this step. So what are we here to do? In this step, we will upload files because that is the data that we're here to analyze with QuickSight. Is that it? Is that all we're doing in this step? I missed 2 things. I only said upload files. There's 2 more things in this step that we're here to do. What do you think? So we're here to set up a storage bucket in S3, upload files, and update one of the files we upload. So the files we upload contain the data we're here to analyze with QuickSight. Okay. All right. Let's keep on going. So log into your AWS account. The link to that is in the project guide. And once you log into your AWS account, you can open up the S3 console. So let's open up the S3 console. Here I am in my AWS Management Console, and I'm going to drag my project guide here. And we've got a great question that says, is a data set a collection of data? Great question. So a great suggestion here from Nixwork as well, that we can check out the Ask feature. And let's see, is a data set a collection of data? Ooh, a data set is a collection of data. I just realized I can bring this back up here for a second. So yeah, a data set is a collection of data. It's a structured collection of data that is organized in a way that makes the data easy to access and easy to analyze. Data sets can be stored in various formats. It can contain different types of data. It doesn't have to be text and numbers. Actually, data sets can contain audio, contain images. So yeah, I highly rate this definition. It's completely true. I think the great thing about a data set, when you call something a data set, it truly means that it's organized in a way where it's ready to be accessed, viewed, analyzed. You know, I wouldn't really call like a random jumbled up desktop like a data set. You know what I mean? Like if you look at my desktop, there's like a bunch of data in there, but it's not really a data set. It's not really organized in a way for analysis. But our spreadsheet sure is. The CSV file we downloaded, that sure is the data set. It's organized in a way where things are in columns and rows, for example, in this case, so we can analyze it pretty easily. Okay, so let's search S3 in our console. Okay, I've typed up S3 here. I can click it here, and that opens up S3 for me. So let's select Create Bucket first thing to create the storage bucket. Nice. And make sure you're in the region closest to you. Okay, so this one is important. Remember the region you're picking here because it's going to be important later on, and that's why it's a good idea to switch now to the region that's closest to you. The closer the region, the better it is in terms of speed, in terms of how fast it takes to retrieve something, to view analysis, and usually it also means lowering your costs as well, although this project's completely free, so you don't need to worry about that. But again, remember this region. You're going to need to remember it or recall it later in this project. And now we're going to name our bucket. So name your bucket and enter your name in here. So I'm going to say my name is Nixwork, and we're going to name my bucket in this way. Nixwork QuickSight Project, Nixwork. But enter your name. This keeps your bucket name completely unique, just like you. Cool. Everything else, default, default, default. We don't need to worry about other S3 bucket settings. Let's just create the bucket. Okay, so S3 is a storage service. S3 buckets are just like folders in the cloud ready to store your things. So now that we've created a bucket, we're ready to store our things. How good is that? I can see my bucket is looking cute over here, so I'm going to click into my bucket. Click into yours too. And guess what? We're already ready to upload our files into S3. Shall we do it? Are you going to beat me to it? So go ahead and upload your files now. We're going to click on Add Files here, and you're going to see the 2 files that you downloaded inside your Downloads folder. So let's open that up. And that uploads my 2 files. So I can select Upload at the bottom, and all done. It's just going to get uploaded like this. Might take a minute or 2, and then when you're ready, you can click Close. Now in the meantime, while we're waiting, I thought it would be a great idea for us to just see what is the actual data that we're uploading. So we've got manifest.json that we're going to look at a bit closer in a second. But this is the actual spreadsheet that we're uploading and analyzing today. Netflix titles.csv is a bunch of shows and movies. You can see that we have a show ID, a type, is it a movie or a TV show, what is the name of it, who's the director, who is in the cast, and even more data. You got the country where it's released, when was it added to Netflix, what year was it released, and either things like ratings, durations, what category it's in, and even a description of the show or the film. So we've got a lot of cool data that we can analyze here. If we were to just look at the raw data, I'm curious, how would you want to analyze this? Like when I look at this, I'm like, ooh, like how many shows and movies are in this? Are there any directors that show up multiple times? Who is in the cast? Are there popular cast members that we should look out for? What are the predominant countries? You can also look here, what are the dates where we've uploaded the most amount of content to Netflix, release years, all of this. You can always start by like, what is the most of something? And then eventually have the relationship between two things. Oh, is there a relationship between the duration of something and the rating? Is there a relationship between how many, the number of listed in items and something else? So I really, really enjoy looking at spreadsheets of data. But if that freaks you out, if you're like, not my vibe, don't worry. We don't look at that for too long, because all we're gonna do is upload it and then select close. Okay, and we pretty much don't need to look at the spreadsheet again, because from here we're just analyzing it and creating some really lovely, beautiful visuals. So we've uploaded our stuff. Does that mean we're gonna go straight to visualizing it now? We have a little bit more to do. The first thing we need to do is really understand manifest.json that we've uploaded. Okay, we've kind of just uploaded this thing without truly really knowing what's inside it. So in this step, we're actually about to just select your Netflix.title CSV file. So this is the spreadsheet, and select that copy S3 URI. So you're copying the S3 link to this spreadsheet. Now, what are we gonna do with this S3 URI? It looks a little sus. What we're here to do is actually put that link into your manifest.json file. So find your manifest.json file in your downloads folder, and let's open it up. I'm gonna use text edit in my MacBook, I don't know why saying MacBook makes me a little tripped out. I'm like, is MacBook the right word? Yes it is, in my Mac. But if you're a Windows user, you can definitely use like Notepad++ for this to do the same thing. So this is your manifest.json file. Welcome. If you're thinking, oh, like what the heck is this? Manifest.json is written in JSON, and JSON is simply a way to represent data. Full stop. JSON is just a way to represent your data. If you're seeing a lot of like curly brackets and quote marks, that's simply the JSON way to display something. So in this case, this is simply the JSON way of saying the location of the file that you're about to send to QuickSight is this. This is the URI or like the link to it. Does it look a little shady? Does it look a little shady? It might just, because this isn't exactly the name of the link to your file. Your file looks a little different. In fact, we even have it saved in this little variable here, because what's unique about your bucket? You've added your name. And of course, your manifest.json doesn't quite know that yet. So you can actually replace this with the URI that you copied, so that it actually shows your name here. Make sure you do this step, otherwise QuickSight is not going to know the location of your spreadsheet. Okay, it's not going to know where is the S3 bucket that's storing the spreadsheet you're trying to analyze. And of course, don't forget, we talked about manifest.json as a way to tell the receiver of the data the format and the structure of the data as well. So in our manifest.json file, you've got here file location, so telling QuickSight where is the file you want to analyze, but you've got global upload settings, and there we go, format, it's a CSV file. And here's the structure. We've got delimiters, which means the separators of your data basically. And does it contain a header? It does. This just gives QuickSight a bit of context around what kind of data it's expecting to receive, so it can better analyze it for you. Well, we don't need to touch any of this. The key part was that we needed to edit this one. So once you're done, you can just save the file. Make sure you save it, because if you don't save it, you're going to re-upload the exact same file. So press Command S or Control S wherever you are to save that file. And I think we're ready to re-upload it back into S3. So let's go back into your S3 bucket and let's select upload here. So select upload, and we're gonna give S3 the updated version of our manifest.json file. Go ahead and click on add files here and select manifest.json. I love using this little Mac shortcut where you can press space on the file you want to upload to preview it. And I'm just going to preview it to just double check. Okay, it does say my S3 bucket's name, like my unique name. So this is the correct JSON file. Let me upload that now and close the bucket when I'm done. Okay, so manifest.json file is uploaded. And the cool thing is, actually, when you select close, you're gonna notice that it's still only 2 objects. You see that? I think it's a cool feature of S3. I don't know if you noticed what's weird about this, but usually, if you were to upload a new file into your folder on Google Drive, it's just gonna add the file to the folder and it doesn't replace anything that's already there. So technically we should have 3 files because we originally had 2 and we just uploaded a new thing. What S3 does is it actually replaces, it automatically detects whether something has the exact same file name as an existing file and replaces the existing one. It's a great feature when you're really just here to replace things. It's not a great feature if you didn't want to replace an existing file. So this is just a little tip for you in the future. Make sure you check out the file name of the thing you want to upload because it's going to overwrite anything else that has the exact same name. Okay, when you're ready, let's just take a screenshot of the objects now in your bucket and let's add that to your documentation. Yeah, so we've got Gangada putting in a good tip here. S3 versioning is a great idea for anyone that wants to protect themselves from potentially overwriting things and losing data. S3 versioning is the feature in S3 where you can actually version control and save every single version of the file. So even if it gets overwritten, the older version gets saved as a version. And you can always go back to that old version too. Okay. So what are the 2 files you stored in your S3 bucket? You're literally looking at them. So I hope you know what to answer here. Because S3 is used in this project to store 2 files. Okay, they are manifest.json and Netflix titles.csv. What's the next question? What did you change in your manifest.json file? Why edit this file? Okay, great. So before we do that, I think that gives me a bit of context that we actually need to add a bit more detail into this question, into this answer. Because we're here to store 2 files, manifest.json, which tells QuickSight about the structure and format of the data we're uploading, or the data that we're analyzing, and Netflix titles.csv, which is the data that we're here to analyze today. And in fact, I'm going to say it's the raw data to make it clear. So we edited the manifest.json file by updating the S3 URI that corresponds to our dataset's file location. It's important to edit this file because it's how QuickSight will find and analyze the data. If we didn't update this file, QuickSight wouldn't know the correct location of our data set. This will cause errors down the line. Okay, so now we're here to set up our QuickSight account. And sorry, I thought I'd quickly shout out, thank you so much, Adil, for the lovely comment. You caught my eye there. It's pretty weird time zone difference between Germany and New Zealand. It sure is. It's like 10 p.m. for you right now? What's the time right now in Germany? The time is 11:41 p.m. Oh my gosh, did you have time zone? Did you get like a daylight saving by any chance? Or is that maybe not? Adele says it's pretty weird time zone difference between Germany and New Zealand. But anyway, I'm gonna watch till the end. Thanks for the amazing content and thank you for the amazing support. This is like absolute, like you just injected like fuel in me. So thank you. That keeps us going. So we're gonna keep on going now to step 3, where we're gonna create the Amazon QuickSight account. So this is where the magic happens. Let's sign up for a free trial of Amazon QuickSight, and please follow these steps closely so you don't get charged. We're gonna show you how to make sure your QuickSight account is free. And then we're gonna set up QuickSight to access your S3 bucket and finish up your account setup so that you can start analyzing the data you've uploaded. Okay, so a bit of an admin step, if I must say, but it's gonna be well worth it. It's gonna help us get to the creative bit, which is to analyze the data. So we're gonna search for QuickSight. Oh, I jumped straight to the steps, which is a bad habit of mine, because we're actually here to say what are we doing in this step. Apologies. So in this step, we will set up an Amazon QuickSight account. Because we need an account to start analyzing data. It's important to pay close attention to the setup steps. Leaving some settings as default will cause charges to our AWS account. Okay, so let's make sure our QuickSight setup is free. Okay, so we're gonna search for QuickSight now. Let's click on it. And we're now entering the world of QuickSight. How are you feeling? New service time? Is it a new service time? I think it is, everyone. So welcome to the QuickSight dashboard. I know it looks so different from the typical AWS service, and that's because QuickSight just has so many features and so many different kinds of use cases that it's built to be like a different tool. Because so many people a lot of data people might just use QuickSight and not use other AWS services. So instead of making everyone like log into AWS and go through the portal to find QuickSight, AWS rather built QuickSight almost like its own tool so that the data people can just use QuickSight without having to worry about navigating AWS itself. I also think it's beautiful. You know, what a beautiful landing page for QuickSight, so shout out to AWS for that. Let's select sign up for QuickSight now. And yes, it comes for free for 30 days. This free trial lasts for 30 days. So QuickSight is free for the first 30 days that you use it. We're gonna make sure we delete our QuickSight accounts by the end of the session today so we don't get charged, especially if you end up leaving your account running after 30 days. So let's make sure we terminate our account by the end of this project. In the meantime though, hundreds of students have already done this project for free. So just know that it is totally possible to avoid charges as long as you follow these steps closely. Okay, so we're gonna make sure that our email address is the same address as our AWS account address. So here, I'm gonna enter my NextWork account address. And then for authentication method, we're gonna keep the default one that says use IAM federated identities. And this basically says AWS will help authenticate like QuickSight to the services that you need for you by creating a role. And I won't go into too much detail here, but I think, oh, sorry. I got mixed up there. That wasn't the correct thing to say. So authentication method is more about how are you going to get access to QuickSight later on. And in this case, we're using IAM federated identities using single sign-on, AWS IAM credentials, or QuickSight credentials, which means that you can log into QuickSight later on using your AWS and your QuickSight credentials. And there are other ways that you can access your QuickSight account, but these are some more advanced methods that we won't need to go into. Let's just keep the default method. And then we're going to go down into our QuickSight region, and we're going to select the region that we're using. Did I use Virginia to set up my S3 bucket? Who remembers? Was it Virginia? Or was it somewhere else? Do you remember? I used Oregon. Okay, so make sure that the region that you're using actually matches your S3 buckets region. Otherwise, what kind of data are you analyzing? Definitely not data in the right region. So switch your region to the right place, select OK. And you might just need to type in your email one more time when you're switched up to Oregon, but that's okay, or switched up to the region you're using. But that's totally okay. Worth it, because it's going to save us from an error later on. Okay, and then you've got your QuickSight account name next, and this one doesn't matter too much. I'm just going to quickly enter next to QuickSight network, but this is going to get replaced with your name when you enter it in your project earlier on. Easy as. And now we're going to move on to a more important part of the setup process. This is about what services QuickSight can get access to. Now, can it get access to so-and-so service? It's basically what it's trying to help you decide now. And you want to make sure that it can get access to S3. Okay, so make sure this thing is ticked because our data is in an S3 bucket. So tick S3. And once you tick it, you're going to see this little panel here that says, okay, you can get connected to S3, but which bucket specifically do you want to give QuickSight access to? Do you want it to give it access to all the buckets? And we're like, no. Actually, we just want to analyze the data inside one specific bucket. And it should come up saying next to QuickSight project and your name. So select that one. And then select Finish to set up that connection between QuickSight and S3. So they're not connected yet. It's more that QuickSight now has permission to even access the contents inside that bucket. So QuickSight now has permission, but they're not connected yet. Now this is the important step that we all must do, is to make sure you uncheck this offer to upgrade. Do you see how it says $500 a month? And it says monthly charges begin immediately. Hello? Why are you doing this? Why check something like this by default? That's my biggest gripe with QuickSight. Please make sure this is unchecked. Okay, I don't want to see a tick here. It's empty. We want to see a white box. And once you untick it, you can move on ahead to finishing up your QuickSight setup. But I'm like really cautious here because I have definitely seen students leave it checked and it's not a great idea for your AWS bill. So uncheck this now, double check it, and then click Finish when you're ready. Now it's going to take a minute usually to create the account, so let's go through a few questions while we wait. Creating a QuickSight account costs $0 as it comes with a 30-day free trial. Make sure you uncheck an add-on in the sign-up flow called, what is it called? It's called Pixel Perfect Reports. So called Pixel Perfect Reports, we don't want that. So you don't get charged. Okay, and how much time did it take to open a QuickSight account? Creating an account took us about 5 minutes. including setting up our S3 buckets permissions. And let's take a screenshot of the success page when the account is created. Perfect timing. Our account is created. So let's take a screenshot of that, add that to our documentation, and we can select done. All done. So you've created an Amazon QuickSight account. Let's select go to QuickSight to keep on going. Let's select this one, go to QuickSight. Hey. Nice work, nice work. I'm so excited, we're in QuickSight land. So this is the QuickSight dashboard, and it basically splits up your data work into multiple different kinds of layers. In this case, you've got your data sets, which is where you connect up the raw data, and then you've got the analyses, which is where you create the visualizations. You've got data stories and dashboards, which are kind of like layers on top of your analyses, and you've also got things like community and topics if you want to learn more about QuickSight. So it's honestly organized in a pretty organized fashion because you've got the raw data and then you've got the visualizations just in two separate pages. In this step, we're going to be connecting your S3 bucket to Amazon QuickSight. So, QuickSight has permission now. It was part of the setup. We ticked the checkbox for our S3 bucket's name. So now that QuickSight has permission, we just want to actually do the connection. Let's actually load the data into QuickSight. So not only do you have permission, like you've built a bridge, you're also going to now make the data cross the bridge into QuickSight land. Okay, so to do this, we're going to set up a new data set inside QuickSight. That's right, so that's the page for your raw data. And then we're going to connect QuickSight to your S3 bucket, and then we're going to prepare for data visualization. Exciting. So in this step, we will set up our data set for visualization by connecting it up to QuickSight. This is because QuickSight currently has permission to access our data, but the data isn't actually loaded yet until the end of the step. Awesome. So you might get like a welcome introduction from QuickSight when you first open this dashboard. If you do, just continue clicking through next. It's just an introduction that tells you about how good QuickSight is in terms of helping you visualize and analyze your data. Now, before we keep on going, I thought I'd flag that you're actually now in the project's hot error zone. Students have reported getting stuck in this step before, so if you get stuck, just know you're not alone. We highly recommend taking special note of the steps coming up. We've even got a few troubleshooting tips ready below if you do need it. Now, from the left-hand navigation bar, let's get started now by selecting datasets here. Okay, and select new dataset over here, like this. And here we've got a few options for data sets you can connect to. Look at that. Look at all of this data set that you can connect to. That's so impressive, isn't it? In fact, you can even upload a file directly into QuickSight. It's just that S3 is a much better option to make the most out of S3's features, like versioning, like permission management, and also, so you can also keep track of all of your files like metadata in a cleaner fashion when it's all in S3. So it's just cool that you can actually analyze data directly from databases, from external tools. Wow, even Databricks, even GitHub. So that's pretty helpful. In the meantime, let's click on S3 and we can type in a data source name. A data source name is just a label. It's not going to affect anything else. And you can go ahead and put in Kaggle Netflix data so that you've got your data source name that reflects where you've gotten the data from. For us, we got it all the way from Kaggle, which is an official data source. So shout out to Kaggle for the Netflix data that we're using today. And oh my gosh, thank you so much to Francisco for the super chat. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And wishing you all the best with this project as well. I hope you enjoy this project too. And Adil says, when exactly are we going to get charged connecting SU to QuickSight? You're not going to get charged in this project today, Adil. I've got good news for you, man. You can do this project entirely for free, and you won't get charged. The only time we ever talk about charges is in that sign-up process that we finished. It's just that if you leave this checkbox ticked, you will get charged, but we untick that checkbox. And it's very, very clearly outlined in the guide. If you have any other questions though about charges, completely understand that it's something you want to get more information about. So just ask us any other questions you might have about it. So cool. So we're going to enter our data source name over here. And then once that's done, you can see that there's a second option, a second box here. And this is the URL of your JSON manifest file. Does the name manifest file seem familiar to you? Do you remember where the manifest file is? What is the URL? Where can you find it? Try challenging yourself to filling in this field yourself. You can even pause this video now. Cool. So the S3 URL is simply asking about the location of the manifest file inside your S3 bucket. So all we gotta do is select our cheeky little manifest file, manifest.json, and copy the S3 URI one more time. Cool. So once that's copied, you can paste that into this field here, and that pretty much means you've uploaded your manifest file. So you can select connect, and that should connect up your S3 data source with QuickSight. That's it. Isn't that so good? Now I wanted to call out the fact that we are really in a I would say a hot error zone. Okay, because not everyone is going to see such a successful response. All right. Here are some errors that you might run into, and I might just do this in a new in the bigger tab. So you might see an error that says not enough spice capacity. This might be you, and if that is you, you can still finish this project. This is not going to stop you, okay, from finishing this project. In fact, I've written a step-by-step guide on how you can continue to finish this step, even if it says it doesn't have enough spice capacity, okay? So please do follow that if you see this instead. It's totally normal too. I saw that yesterday night, and today I can see I don't have the same error anymore. So it happens all the time to everyone. Don't freak out if you see that, okay? And if you have any other questions, just ask the Nexa community as well. The link to that should be in the description box, the link to the Nexa community. But once you have ticked finish dataset creation, you can select visualize. Okay, and now we're ready to visualize our data, just like that. We're ready. Again, calling out, not everyone's gonna see that beautiful page, that beautiful screen for visualizing something. You might end up seeing an error. Okay, you might have an error that says QuickSight doesn't have permissions, it cannot find the bucket, it can't parse the manifest file, it can't connect to the bucket. These are all errors we've seen before in the community. Do not worry if you see that. All of the steps for resolving these errors are inside the guide, and you can always ask the Nexa community as well if you get stuck. Okay, so all the best with resolving your errors, and woohoo to everyone like me that's seeing the 10 gig available success. Okay, so here in this screen, all we gotta do is select create and off we go. I just realized, I think I skipped a bit. I think I skipped an important step. I skipped a screenshot. Oh no. I don't think it's possible to go back to that place. Should I try? All right, well, I'm gonna click create, which takes us to the next step, but I'm gonna try set up that panel for taking a screenshot very quickly. Okay, do you remember the steps? It's revision time, team. Let's click on datasets, new dataset, S3, Kaggle, Netflix data is the name, and the manifest.json file link was already in my clipboard, so I saved that, and now I'm ready to take my screenshot. Okay, sick. I can upload my screenshot now. Phew, it's almost like I didn't skip it or anything. And let's go ahead and answer our questions. So, which QuickSight page did you visit to connect your S3 bucket? We connected the S3 bucket to QuickSight by visiting the Datasets page. It was not the analysis page, it was the Datasets page. There were so many options for data sources we could connect to, and we selected S3. So the other data sources options were databases and external tools or platforms like Salesforce. But you know, we used S3. That was a cool one to use. And why do we need the manifest.json file? So, oh, I just realized it's actually up here. So why do we need the JSON file? Manifest.json tells QuickSight what your dataset looks like. So QuickSight knows how to understand the data and show it in charts or graphs. Without the manifest.json file, which is like a map to the data it's about to see, QuickSight might get confused. It's like, how is this data separated? Where are the rows and columns? Is this a header? Or is this like a data, just like a data cell? QuickSight actually needs to be told all of that. And that's what the manifest.json file does. Cool. So let's go ahead and put that into our documentation. The manifest.json file was important in this step because it tells QuickSight, basically, how to read the data. In this case, it tells, in this project, it tells QuickSight that we're uploading a .csv file, spreadsheet, and a delimiter, i.e. commas, so that QuickSight knows how to break up the data for analysis. Otherwise, QuickSight might get confused. All done, team. Congratulations. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our first QuickSight visualization now. All right, are we ready, team? I think we're ready. Let's go ahead and create our first visualizations, and to do that, we're going to be exploring different kinds of charts and also just start building out a dashboard. It's a lot of fun, so I'm excited to be doing this with all of you. So in this step, we will create visualizations using the dataset fields in QuickSight. would say once you get the hang of visualization foundations, we can start building lots of different chart types. That turn data into insights. You know, that's the whole purpose of analysis. It's not just to create fancy things that look colorful and nice. It's really to tell people insights about the data that they have. So let's make sure we do that. So with QuickSight, you can sort, you can filter, you can customize your data to create top-tier visualizations. And you can also experiment with different types of graphs. So let's just jump into it and see that we already have all these fields imported from our spreadsheet. Do you remember these fields? Cast, country, date added. Does it look familiar at all? Does it? Does it look familiar at all, team? What do you think? Have we seen this before? Yeah, show ID, type, title, director. Okay, we got cast at the top. Just look at that top line here. We've got cast, and we've also got country, date added, release year, rating, duration, listed in, description. All of that stuff is here. Cast, country, date added, description, listed in, director. So this means QuickSight successfully read our data and is now ready to analyze all of those different columns of data that it's picked up on from our spreadsheet. Great work with connecting those two. And you can even click on release year here. Click on that. Ooh, look at that. You can already see a breakdown on the year that Netflix featured TV shows and movies were released. So you can see 592 items for 2021, 953 for 2020, 1,000 for 2019. I mean, this is pretty insightful stuff already, and we just did that in one click. So now that we know it actually just takes a click to put things into our dashboard, you can now also play around with different visual types. So from here, you can change this little bar chart, which is kind of like the magic setting, like QuickSight kind of just thought of that for us. But you can actually change it and say, you know what, I want to make this a donut chart. Amazing. And now you've got a donut chart of your data. In fact, it even tells you you've got 8,800 rows of data in the spreadsheet. So nice work to QuickSight for ingesting it so quickly, all 8,000 rows, 8,800 rows, and be able to quickly flash visualizations, because that's so much data you need to analyze. And that's the reason why QuickSight is so helpful. You know, as a cloud service, its specialty is in being able to ingest a lot of data and turn it into visualizations quickly. Like the speed is one of the, I would say, one of the key things that QuickSight is known for. So let's save it in our dashboard. You can click on the frame, you know, surrounding a lovely donut chart, and you can even click on the white boxes. You see that white box here? See that little white box? You can click on that to drag and drop it, to resize it as well. So what I'm gonna do is I might just resize mine to be a little smaller, okay, so that I can see it without having to scroll around too much. And now we can create a new visual. You know, whether or not you've clicked it or you're outside, there's a visuals add button here that you can click on. So let's click on that. Add. Ooh, we've got a new visual. Hey, hello, new visual. So what should we do in this new visual? Here's another chance for us to create something. And in this case, why don't we put release year into the y-axis heading? So let's put release year, and let's just click that here. And usually that just puts it in the y-axis heading automatically. And now we've got release here in the y-axis heading. It looks about the same as that previous chart that we created. So this time, let's try something new. We're gonna click on that type label and drag that into group. So now everything that was released in that year can also get grouped depending on its type, a movie or a TV show. Ta-da! Movie or TV show, movie or TV show. Very, very nice visual, so clean. It's really, really helpful when your group doesn't have a lot of possible values. You know what I'm saying? Like if it had 5,000 possible values, then every single year it needs to have about 5,000 rows if it really had at least one of each. So Adil also recommended, what about release versus category? I think by category you might mean like is a thriller or mystery, and inside our data set that's called listed in. So what if we put listed in as our grouping variable? Let's try. So yeah, this is what happens if you have a lot of different possibilities in your grouping variable. So you can see that our data set starts looking really, really minute and tiny because there are just so many different possible values. And that's why picking something that's a little bit more simple in terms of the number of options helps. So I'm gonna change this back into our type. So we're back to just two types. Ta-da! Movie or TV show. I hope that helps, Adil. Okay, nice work. Again, you can resize your bar chart so that it doesn't take up too much space. Depends. If you wanted to make it like huge, you can. Nothing stops you. You are the master of your own dashboard. So you can absolutely follow my guidance or try your own. Give it a go. So take a screenshot of one of your visualizations. Which one do you like more? I personally like this one more, so I'll take a screenshot of this one and I'll talk about it in our documentation. How do you create visualizations on QuickSight? To create visualizations on QuickSight, we simply have to click on data fields or data labels, e.g. release year, and QuickSight will automatically generate a graphic that best suits that type of data. You can also drag data labels into sections like group by or y-axis to determine how our graphic should treat the variable, should treat the data. I would say to treat the data. So explain the visualization you uploaded. So for us, it's this cool little donut chart. So the chart shown here is a breakdown of what are we showing. Okay, this is really the insights part of data visualization. So practice your data analysis skills by explaining the insights of what you've created. Give this a go. Try pause the video. And yeah, shout out to Adil for these recommendations. Filter by top 5, great idea. And Ernest says that's beautiful. Oh, amazing. Oh, you need to do day 1 first, Ernest. It was my birthday yesterday. Happy late birthday. Oh, I hope you had an enjoyable birthday, Ernest. And thank you so much for mentioning this one next week, team. It's true, you don't need to do day 1 to do day 2, so you're more than welcome to just jump in and do this project first. And I highly recommend trying out the first one too. It's about hosting a static website on S3. So I hope you had a go with this one. The chart shown here is a breakdown of the release years of the content inside Netflix, i.e., how many TV shows, TV shows or movies were released on XYZ year. You can see that there is a total of 8,800 plus content pieces, and 2019 seems to be the biggest chunk. Okay, it has 1.03K. Yeah, even 2016 is smaller than that. And 2019 is the year with the most amount of content released. Isn't that interesting? I find that interesting because wasn't COVID 2020? So could that have been the reason why like there's a bit of a slowdown of released content, you know, in the years afterwards, while 2019 was a bit of a peak in this data set? Cool. So how did you create this visualization? We created this graph by simply clicking on the release year, by clicking on the release year, what's it called? Data label, and changing the automatically generated chart from a bar chart to a donut chart. That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Because we're now ready for step 6, the QuickSight treasure hunt. Are you ready for a challenge? The Netflix team has some questions for us, and we're going to answer them by creating some targeted visualizations to answer their questions. In this step, let's get ready to create lots of different visualizations to answer specific questions that they have about our data. We're going to apply some filters to analyze subsets of our data. So we're going to use filters to basically filter out 8,800 rows to less amount of rows so that we can analyze them specifically. And then we're going to start to organize our visualizations in a dashboard layout so it all looks pretty together. And here we go. Shall we go for it? I think this is the visualization I created yesterday when I had it go. I wonder what visualization you're going to create and what we'll set up this time. So in this step, we will answer a few questions from the Netflix team, because they want us to generate insights on the raw data about the movies and TV shows. Let's see what we can come up with. Okay, so yeah, let's say you presented your first 2 QuickSight charts to the Netflix data team lead and they're impressed. They want to see what else you can find. They give you a brief with 5 questions that you should be able to answer with QuickSight. So let's continue adding to your dashboard. Make sure not to replace your existing graph, okay? Keep adding new visuals. It's really tempting sometimes to be like, okay, like visual done, and you work on the next one without realizing you're like overwriting your existing chart. So heads up, make sure to keep duplicating your visuals to add new charts instead of replacing the current one. And if you get stuck, we have solutions available at the bottom of this step. Cool. Now, question 1 from the Netflix data team. Hi, I quite like the breakdown of TV shows, movies for each release year. Would it be possible to stack movies and TV shows in the same row so you can visualize the percentage? You know, in each year, what percentage was TV shows, what percentage was movies? This is what the finished visualization could look like. But how are you going to do it? It's about the process for us. Our challenge is not the process, it's all the process, and less about the final visualization. How are we going to get to there? You know what? I'm going to review the questions with you in the bigger tab so we can all see it clearly. And that's question 1. And I'm going to demo how to answer these questions, but I highly recommend pausing this video when you're ready and trying having a go at answering these questions yourself. It's really, really helpful to like have a go at playing with the data yourself before you see a guide. It gives you a bit more confidence, I feel. Question 2. Remember to add a new chart. The second question is, how can you show me the same thing in a table? Can you show me the number of movies or TV shows per release year in your table? Okay, so it should look something like this. Question 3. On what day did Netflix add the largest number of movies or TV shows to their catalog? On what day did Netflix add the largest number of movies or TV shows to their catalog? Oh man, how are you going to answer this with a chart? Hey, it's totally possible, by the way. We already created 2 beautiful things together. We can definitely create more. Number 4. Of the TV shows and movies featured, how many were listed as action and adventure? How many were listed as TV comedies? How many were listed as thrillers? This is kind of what it should look like when you're done. For simplicity, ignore the TV shows and movies that have multiple listings or categories. Question 5. Of the TV shows and movies with the listings, and then here are the categories that we talked about in the previous question. So of the TVs and movie shows that we filtered there, how many released on 2014, 2015, or after? So can you split up the action and adventure, the thrillers, the TV comedies that were released from 2015 and beyond? I'm so excited for us. These are some great questions. It's a great way to practice your data viz skills. So please, I highly recommend pausing this project demo and having a go by yourself so you can really get a feel for QuickSight's features as well. So while I wait for you to pause this video, we've got Adil saying, by the way, I just passed my AWS AI practitioner exam. Congratulations! And I've only just started. Oh, next is machine learning associate. That ultimate dream is to take the golden jacket one day. Oh, amazing. What makes the golden jacket your goal, Adil? Are you a big community person? What does the golden jacket mean to you? I'm very curious. And for everyone that's new, the golden jacket is like this. You know what? Let me just search it up as well. The golden jacket is this very, very prestigious jacket that you wear when you're like a top AWS community leader and practitioner. So Adil, I see you wearing one. I see you wearing one for sure. But I'd love to know. All right. And we've got Plaxides saying thanks for creating a revamped version team. Thank you so much. You loved doing this project? That means a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, a big congrats on completing the AI practitioner deal. Okay, I hope you had a go at the visualizations. Again, don't hesitate to pause this and come back when you're ready. So let's go into how we're actually going to solve these questions. I'm going to pull this back into our smaller window now, so that we can see the main steps. Okay, first one. Question: would it be possible to stack movies and TV shows in the same row so you can visualize the percentage of each? Okay. So let's select release year and type, and here we want to stack them into the same row. There's actually a very specific visualization chart type a chart type, not a visualization chart type, just a chart type that you can use. Don't forget, let's always duplicate our visuals before we start. And the chart type is called a 100% horizontal stacked bar chart. What a crazy name for a simple chart idea. But just like that, you've created it. So this is now showing you the percentages for each year, whether it was like 54% movies, 45% TV shows. Very interesting. It kind of tells you the trends, like, oh, why were there so many TV shows or movies? Why were there so many movies released in 2017 compared to TV shows? How did the trends change? How did it move towards TV shows in 2020 and 2021? Interesting stuff. You can always select hide legend if you like to make this even wider, but you know, in this case, I'm just going to show the legend to make it clear which is which. Okay, next question. Question 2. Now, can you show me the same thing as a table? Of course. First of all, let's duplicate our visual. Okay, so we've got the same thing now, and we want the same thing as a table. So let's find the table option. Click on that. And there we go. We've got some tables here. We've got a table here, but you can see it just says 1942 movie, 1943 movie. It doesn't quite tell you the count of things. So you actually still need to add one more thing. And that's actually the value. So shall we go ahead and select title as the value metric. So title just means how many titles were in each type. I see. Let's select title like this. Oh, and I think I put it on the wrong chart. It should be on this chart that we have title. There we go. So now you can see you've got movies, 2 of them, 3 of them that were released in 1943. My goodness. But if you scroll all the way down, you see much bigger numbers. You know, hundreds of TV shows, you know, by the time you reach 2021. Okay, so let's take a screenshot of one of your, oh my gosh, I almost skipped it. And now that that's done, you can scroll back up and we can talk about question 3. Okay, so on what day did Netflix add the largest number of movies or TV shows to their catalog? So this is now where we try to figure out on what day did Netflix add the largest number of movies or TV shows to their catalog? Shall we go ahead and create a new visual? Again, let's always duplicate what we've got. And here, we're trying to figure out the day they were added, not the day they were released. So let's actually use the listed in data and replace release year, because I don't really care anymore. You know, we don't really care anymore whether something was released in a certain, I think that actually accidentally affected the one above. Did it? No, it didn't. We don't really actually care anymore what year the film was released in. We only care about when it was added to Netflix. So, sorry, instead of listed in, I think I actually meant date added. So let's put date added here. Okay, and now we've got date added. And the type is movie, the title 3. This isn't exactly what we want. We want to know just on what day did they add the most number of movies or TV shows. We don't even need to group it into movies or TV shows anymore. We treat them as a whole. So we can actually remove this one. We don't need to group it by type anymore. And now we have a count of title by date added. Very helpful. So here, you can actually try use the autograph to see what kind of chart comes up automatically. Oh, it's not what we want, is it? Yo, this looks pretty cool. Okay, gotta say, it's pretty cool, but it's not what we want. Not helpful, not helpful. What we want, let's go back to where we were. It was a table with the date added. Okay, and then the count is the number of movies and TV shows that we added. And now let's turn that into a horizontal bar chart. Okay, and now the moment it's in a horizontal bar chart, it automatically already orders it by most to least for us, which is very helpful. Now, my handy tip here is to use the properties panel. So click on Format Visual. This thing should come up. And under Y-axis, you can actually determine how many data points you want to show in your chart, because this is looking pretty damn cramped. Sorry, I didn't mean to say the word damn, but oh my goodness, it's looking a little cramped, team. So let's turn that into just showing us the top 20. Click type 20 and number of data points to show. I'm gonna do 20. Click that away. It loads just the top 20, and now it's a lot clearer. Okay, January 1st, 2020 is when they added 109 titles, to their catalog, so that's pretty helpful. You can even turn off data zoom if you'd like, so you can hide data zoom to make this even clearer. But I'm gonna select data zoom one more time. That was a bit confusing for me, team. I think that data zoom ended up focusing on the other piece here, other. We don't really need that. We can just focus on January 1st, 2020. Okay, great. Cool. So now that's question 3 done. We now know the day where we had the largest number of movies and TV shows added. And question 4. So of all of our TV shows and movies, how many were listed in these 3 categories? So to do that, let's again duplicate our existing visual. And this time, we're gonna say, this time, what are we gonna do this time? What do you think? This time, we're gonna use the filter icon, because we don't actually care too much about the date something was added. We actually care more about, what do you think? We care more about the category, which is under listed in. So let's use listed in and put that in our y-axis like this. And now we've got all of the different categories, but we only care about 3. So this is where we use filters. Go ahead and select your chart, and then select that filter icon up top, like this. Select filter and add a filter. So we're gonna add a filter here, and the filter is for the category, which basically is listed in. So select that, and now you can edit this listed in filter to only have the 3 categories we care about. To do that, we're gonna untick the select all, and we're gonna select just action and adventure. We only care about action and adventure. What was the other one? TV comedies, and then thrillers. So let's search up TV comedies like this. And you're gonna find TV comedies at the very end of the list. I know, right? Crazy. Oh, maybe not at the very end. Maybe just almost at the end. TV comedies. Select that. And the thrillers is the one that should be at the very end, I think. Here we go, at the very bottom, thrillers. So now that we have the 3 categories we care about, you can just select apply, and you'll see that reflected in your chart. If it looks huge, like you can only see 1 item, that's where you can go ahead and select hide data zoom on the side. Okay, so hide data zoom, we don't need that. We want to see all 3 together like this. Perfect. So just like that, we can see that we've got 128 listed as action and adventure. We've got 69 in TV comedies, and 65 and thrillers. Cool. All of that adds up to 262 items under those 3 categories. Great. Question 5. Of the TV shows and movies with these listings, with these categories, how many were actually released in 2015 or later? So now we've got 2 filters to care about. If you'd like, you can duplicate this visual, which I highly recommend, because it will automatically be filtered with the 3 things we care about. But this time we're just adding a new filter, aren't we? So you can actually click on the filters icon here to shortcut and get there. Or you can just click on the filters icon here. Either way, we're here to add a new filter now, because the release year needs to be 2015 or over. So select on your release year filter, and here we're gonna uncheck again all the years. Don't care about any of these. We care more about going all the way to the bottom and only selecting 2015 and beyond. Okay, so now that you've selected 2015 and beyond, let's go ahead and select apply. And there you go, you've got your answer. So these are the filtered options after you make sure it's only 2015 and beyond titles we're seeing here. To make it clearer, you can go back up, select the visualize icon, and make sure that the visual type you're using is actually like a donut chart, because donut charts would usually have the number in the center, which is quite helpful. And since we already have labels here, we don't quite need the legend, so we can actually edit this and hide the legend to make it a bit clearer. Okay, and that's you all done. All 5 questions answered. Hey, look at you go. Doesn't that look pretty good? So take a screenshot of one of your visualizations. You've already created so many, just like that. And you can go ahead and pick one. I quite like 100% bar charts. I don't know, it's a personal preference of mine. So I'm just gonna select this one. How did everyone go? What do you think? Okay, so why are filters useful? We did just use filters in 2 different charts. Filters are useful for narrowing down our data to the subset that we want to focus on. Oh, actually, I just realized the screenshot needs to be one of the last 3 that shows off filters. Okay, fine. Let's use this one, because this one actually shows off filters. Okay, filters are useful for narrowing down our data to the subset that we want to focus on, and in this case, we could use filters to focus on the specific categories that we want to analyze. We also use filters to only look at content with a release date from 2015 and beyond. Okay, so explain the visualization you uploaded. What does it show? This visualization is a breakdown of TV shows and movies that belong in one of 3 categories: action and adventure, TV comedies, and thrillers. Here, we added a filter based on based on the listed on data label, i.e. only these 3 categories could pass the filter. Sweet! So we're all done in terms of creating our visualizations, and it looks amazing. We've got a final step coming up that's all about finishing touches for your visualization. But if you're like me and you're up for a secret mission today, are you up for something a little bit extra to showcase your skills? If that's you, let's do this secret mission about conducting a data refresh. So data refreshes happen all the time. You know, the data for your Netflix data that you're analyzing, what happens when it updates? Does it automatically update your visualizations? Do you need to do anything special? Let's find out in the secret mission. So you're more than welcome to skip the secret mission and move on ahead to finishing up your visualization. It's just that if you're really serious about learning about data, cloud services, and how they interact when something updates, this is definitely like the secret mission to do. Okay, so we're gonna update your original data set, we're gonna refresh your data, and then we're gonna showcase your secret mission in your project documentation too. So let's jump in now. And what are we doing in this secret mission? For our secret mission, which we're going to call project extension for our documentation, what are we doing? We're conducting a data refresh. What happens when the data has an update? So still in your QuickSight account, let's start by visualizing another piece of data in your data set. So to do this, we're going to select Add for the visuals here. And you can see that we've got a new visual here. I'm just going to unlock that secret mission one more time. Okay, great. The secret mission's unlocked again. Okay. And you're going to see another blank frame pop up when you add a new visual. But this time, our visual type is going to be a table. So let's select table. And then for the value, we're going to say country. Let's just say we want to visit and have a look at the country data for the content that's inside Netflix. Now, keep scrolling and you're going to see that we've got a lot of empty fields here. So many fields have nothing in them. So this is not a great sign because just look at how much empty data we have, okay, before we finally hit like any result. So empty data is usually a bit of a yikes, you know, in data land, because it means that our analysis isn't going to be quite complete. It's a very, very realistic situation to have missing cells, but let's say that this is actually an error in the spreadsheet itself. Like every single cell is supposed to have a country field, but for some reason the spreadsheet that we had didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and make sure that we can upload a new version of our data that has complete data, and then update QuickSight so that we are analyzing the updated data. Okay, so there's 2 steps. 1, upload updated data. 2, analyze the updated data. Now, this is just a little bit of a best practice tip in data land. Decisions made on incomplete data are more likely to be flawed because they're based on data that might not reflect the true scenario. In our case, missing country data could lead to the company having a misunderstanding about where successful content is being made. Imagine if the most successful content was actually made in a certain country. Let's say it was made in Australia, but the country field for all of the piece of content created in Australia is empty. So we're not going to be able to see that actually content produced in Australia has been wildly successful. And we're just going to end up focusing on the rows of data that do have a country field. This could lead to the wrong investments, the wrong business decisions. It could have some big flow-on effects. So that's the reason why having complete data is so important. Okay. So we're going to go and tell our data team lead about the missing data. We're going to say, hey, we've got a problem. We've got missing data. And they've come back with an improved data set and complete country information. So let's make the most out of this new data that doesn't have all of this missing country fields. To do this, we're going to download the updated data set here. So click here to download the updated data set. And here we're going to explain. In this project's extension, we downloaded fresh data that's different from the original data set because it had rows and rows of empty country data. Analyzing incomplete data brings the risk of creating inaccurate insights, or generating inaccurate insights, which leads to the wrong business decisions that cost the company time, effort, and money. Okay, so once we've downloaded this data set, you can actually open it up and notice that the new data set has complete country data. Not a single piece of, or not a single row has the empty, the country field empty, which is great. Okay, so that is good news, and we can head back to S3 to upload our updated data set. So inside your S3 bucket, select Upload, and then select Add Files, so that you can go ahead and upload your Netflix titles updated. Cool. And can you think of anything else you might need to update? We've updated our Netflix title spreadsheet. What else do you think you'll need to update? It's a different name. Our spreadsheet now has a different name. So yeah, if you're thinking about the manifest.json file, you're correct there. The manifest.json file is currently still pointing to your old spreadsheet's location. You're going to need to update it to point to the new spreadsheet location. So let's open it up here. And instead of it saying Netflix titles.csv, it should really say Netflix titles updated.csv. Okay? So once that's updated, you can save your updated manifest.json file so that it matches, the new name of your spreadsheet. Now we can go back to our S3 bucket, add the file. So let's upload our updated manifest.json file that says Netflix titles updated. Cool. Okay, we've got two updates now. Manifest.json is updated and the spreadsheet itself is updated. So let's scroll down, select Upload, and you should see a success page that both files are in your bucket now. Once we downloaded new data, we had to update our S3 bucket because it is still storing the previous version of the data, i.e. the one with country data missing. We also uploaded a new manifest.json file that points to our updated dataset's name. This makes sure that QuickSight is now pulling in data from the updated dataset and not the version with errors. Very nice. And not the version with missing data, actually. Okay, so now that that's done, how can we pull that fresh data? You know, we've got all this new country data that's inside our data set now. So should we just go back to QuickSight, refresh our tab, and see the country data? I mean, we've even updated manifest.json, so surely. What do you think? The import's complete. You know, look at that. Import complete. That tells us that QuickSight has finished processing the new data that we uploaded, all 8,000 rows of it. But if you check your table visualization, the data hasn't refreshed. It's still the old version with missing country data. So there's still something we need to do, and that is to actually refresh your data inside the QuickSight console too. So even though QuickSight's import of your data is complete, sometimes the visuals and the analysis don't refresh. They use previously saved data, also known as cache data, for performance reasons. That's the reason why QuickSight is so quick. Usually your visualizations are already pulling from, not from the S3 bucket all the time, but actually from a cache data, a saved version of the data that's closer to QuickSight. So when that's the case, it's still pulling from that saved version of the data. You need to manually tell QuickSight, hey, that saved version of the data, can we wipe that out and use the updated spreadsheet that I've uploaded? Okay, so let's go and tell QuickSight that new information. QuickSight's gonna say, oh, tea, that's hot tea. Let's go ahead and update the data. So click on the datasets option here. And here you can see that we've got datasets in this analysis that we can go ahead and edit. So welcome to your datasets dedicated page. This is where you can actually analyze the different the data cell by cell. You know, you can see every single item in the dataset here. And look at that, the country data is already complete here. Not a single missing country item. Okay, that's how you know. That's how you know that the data set is actually already updated in QuickSight, but the visuals, the analysis is still pulling from some saved data. Okay, so you just simply need to do a refresh, okay, inside your QuickSight dataset page to make sure that all of the analysis using this dataset is refreshed too. So here, let's select refresh now, and let's do a full refresh. Make changes to the S3 manifest at the data source. We already did that. We already updated our manifest file. So we're ready for the full refresh. And choose refresh to proceed with replacing this dataset with new data from Amazon S3. Yep, that's what we want to do. Okay, and we've submitted your refresh request. Okay. So now we're refreshing our data, and I don't know if you saw, but there was some updates here that the refresh was finished. It came so quickly though that you might have missed it. Oh, there we go, there it is. So here we last refreshed at 11:54. It means that we're ready to see our updated data. So shall we go ahead and go back to our data set. So we can click back into our QuickSight console, click into datasets, click into the dataset. Oh, sorry, click into analysis. Click into the analysis like this. And let's have a look. Ta-da! Look at your table. No more empty lines of data. It's all filled in now. And you can see that you've got a bunch of Australia ones, before you see Brazil, and so on and so forth. So this is your updated country data. It looks amazing, and there's nothing missing anymore. Okay, so we've successfully done a refresh of our data, and let's review what we've just did. We initially couldn't see our updated data in QuickSight, so we had to visit the dataset in the datasets page in QuickSight and perform a full reset of our data. Oh, actually, it's called a full refresh. Nice. So you can even turn this table into something that's a bit more visual. For example, you can go ahead and turn it into a tree map. Now, once it's in a tree map, you can go ahead and put the country count under size and move that to the group by heading. There you go. And now you can see a tree map of the different kinds of countries that are represented inside your dataset. Pretty cool, eh? And you can even move on to your second country table. Now here, we can even turn this into another kind of visualization. Do you want to turn it into a pie chart? Do you want to turn it into maybe, what about a heat map? Not that helpful. What about a word cloud? Pretty cool. So you've got lots of different options here. You can even do like a chart, but I think a chart isn't quite telling. Like everything is so neck and neck that I think the word cloud is very, very distinct. I quite like it. So I'm gonna keep the word cloud. Okay, so let's take a screenshot of our updated visualization. And let's go ahead and put that into our documentation. Okay, well done on finishing the secret mission, and now let's head back into step 7. All right, finishing touches, everyone. That dashboard is looking beautiful. Look at what you've got here today. Ooh, we've got lots of interesting things that we can add and decorate for our dashboard. So in this last step, it's simply about just adding titles so everything looks neat, and then publishing it so you can export it as a PDF. That's it. So in this step, and this is the final step in this project, we will publish our dashboard. Oh, before that, we will also add titles to our charts, publish our dashboard, and export it as a PDF. Because this helps us to present our dashboard or to present our visualizations to others. Great work. Your dashboard looks so good. It looks so beautiful. Great work. And to edit your title, it's actually very, very simple. So all you gotta do is double click on just like the words. So do you see my cursor here? I just double click on the title, count of records by release year, double click on that, and there you go. You can now edit the title. So edit your chart titles now. Do you think you can match these titles to the right graph? Give it a go. So pause this video, give it a go at matching these titles to your charts. I'm gonna give it a go live as well. Very nice. I think this one is number of movies versus TV shows by release year, because we had 2 different rows of them. And then we've also got, again, movies versus TV shows, because they're side by side. They're getting compared. This one was pretty cool. I really like this one. And then this one again is the number of movies or TV shows by release year. Oh, I think movies versus TV shows. Because again, they're separated. You know, movies have a row, TV shows have a row, but in this one, they're not even separated. They're like kind of lumped together in the same piece of data. What's next? Count of title by date added. Not a very, very friendly kind of way to title a chart, so let's title it better. Number of titles. Is this right? I think I should update this. I feel like this is a typo. Number of titles by added date. It's the correct title. So let's fix up this title. So it should say number of titles by added date, like this. Save that. And let's scroll all the way down. And then we've got count of title by listed in. So this one is, you know, how many thrillers or TV comedies, action and adventure did we put out? Very nice. We've also got this last one. That says, you know, how many of these thrillers, TV comedies, and action and adventure shows or TV shows or movies were released after 2015 or on 2015. That was what this chart was about. And we had 171 as the answer. Now for everyone that took the secret mission with me, let's also say number of movies, TV shows by country. And I think it refers to production country, so you can add that in there too. Awesome. Last one, production countries in this data set. Very nice. So we've got our titles all together. I think it really pulls together your dashboard and just makes it look so beautiful and so neat. I hope you're incredibly proud of this. I would be. And this is your last chance for reorganizing the tiles in your data set. So give that a go. And I'm gonna move this over here so that there is more space for this guy here to go all the way down, like shoot all the way down like this. I think that looks nice. And I'm gonna move this over like this so there's more space for this one. Maybe I can do this. Very nice. I think that looks pretty good. And then for this one, I can narrow this down a little bit, I think, so that everything is in like this neat little squarish area. Okay, very nice. I might just move this over a little bit. Ah, that looks good. I think this looks really good. All right, I'm very happy with my visualization now. I think this looks good. And I'm ready to click publish. So click on publish when you're ready on the top right hand corner. Boom. And then when you're ready to publish it, let's just name your dashboard as Netflix titles analysis. And you can go ahead and just select Publish Dashboard straight away. Great. So off it goes into getting published. It looks good. And then here is where you can export it as a PDF. Very nice. And now it's getting exported as a PDF. You can even select View Exports to keep on tracking the progress on exporting as a PDF. Now we've got a question from Adil here today. So hello Adil. And Adil asks, hi, I wanted to get into Solutions Architect. Do you guys have related projects? Yeah, we sure do actually. So you can check out related projects over here. So once you're inside learn.nextwork.org, and I'll add the link to learn.nextwork.org in the chat for you. So once you're here, you can go ahead and select that search icon here, and you can actually generate a personalized path related to Solutions Architect. So I can click on Generate Your Path, and then for the learning goal, I'll say I want to get into Solutions Architect. What are some hands-on projects for this? It's always a good idea to tell your path generator what you already know and what you don't know. If you don't know what you don't know, that's okay. But let's say that I don't have any experience. So I'd like to start from the top. Maybe this is you. And then you can click on Create Learning Journey, and off it goes with setting up a set of recommended projects for you. So this is how you can get started. You know, if you are completely new to Solutions Architect, and then when you're done with these 5, you can go and say, I have completed your Getting Started projects and created an account, and have a VPC set up. So you can turn that, you can mention that in your learning goal afterwards, and then you can create your learning journey one more time and see what the best path is for you. So you can keep on going with your journey by doing more with VPCs and getting into databases and 3-tier architecture, which are some great choices for the Solutions Architect. Awesome. Let me know if you have any questions about that, but you've had a great question there. Okay, in the meantime, our PDF is now ready, so let's download it and see your beautiful visualization as a PDF. Look at that. That looks good, doesn't it? I'm quite happy with this visualization. So take a screenshot of your beautiful dashboard, and let's go ahead and wrap up this project today. Cool. What did you do as a finishing touch before publishing your dashboard? As a finishing touch, we updated the titles of the charts in our dashboard so that they are easily readable. The default names would simply mention the data labels, e.g. released year, like this. But the new titles communicate the purpose of a chart clearly, e.g. number of movies versus TV shows by release year. How did you export your dashboard as a PDF? We did this by selecting Publish, and then generate PDF. On the top right hand corner of our QuickSight analysis. Whew, all done. You just finished an AWS project. You should be so proud of yourself. And let's wrap up with some reflection questions before we delete our items and see our documentation. This looks so beautiful. I'm so glad we did this today. This was great. So thanks so much for doing this project with me. And what services did you use today? Services we used were QuickSight and S3. Key concepts we learned include manifest.json files, data visualization, techniques, e.g. different charts, using filters, and what else did we learn? I think we also learned how to perform a data refresh in QuickSight. So this project took us approximately 2 hours, including demo time. The most challenging part was, I would say the most challenging part was, oh, let me answer these questions up top so you can see them. The most challenging part was, understanding how a manifest.json file works. It was most rewarding though. Sorry, I had to sneeze for a second there. Sorry about that, team. It was most rewarding to see a finished dashboard. I think generating the PDF was really, really cool. Great. Next up, what is the next project you plan to do? When will you start it? After this project, we plan to work on day 3 of the AWS Beginners Challenge. We will start this project tomorrow. I hope you're just excited as I am to do day 3 of the AWS Beginners Challenge, which is about cloud security. Now, why did you do this project today? Did this project meet your goals? And what could make this learning experience with NextWork even better? So we chose to do this project today because we wanted to learn more about data visualization. Something that would make learning with NextWork even better is, what would you like? What would you like? Maybe something that will make it even better is having more, I wonder, what's something that could make the learning experience even better? What's something that I've heard about recently? I did hear about having more opportunities to practice your logical reasoning and really understanding code, actually, or anything code related, was a request I heard yesterday. So shout out to Sai for that. Okay, now we're ready to delete our resources. Make sure to delete everything, including your QuickSight account, so you don't get charged, because QuickSight is only free for 30 days, don't forget. So you can definitely give it a go, challenge yourself, see if you can tackle the deletion of everything by yourself, or you can do this with me, and I'll just start doing that right now, and you can follow along. Okay, we also have the guide for deleting everything in our project guide too. So up to you on whether you like to follow a video version, or whether you like to follow the guide, or whether you like to challenge yourself and do it all by yourself. Okay, so to delete your account, all you gotta do is find your little profile icon on the top right hand corner and select Manage QuickSight. And then you can select Account Settings here to manage account termination. So this means, do you want to manage whether or not you want to terminate your account, which I think is fancy language for saying, do you want to delete your account? So we're going to say, yes, let's manage this. And account termination protection is on, which is like a safeguard to help prevent accidental deletion of an account. I just find this so funny. I think this is one of my first times seeing account termination protection. You know, because I feel like if you want to delete your account, I don't know if something like this could actually stop. I don't know how effective termination protection is, long story short. Do you think termination protection is helpful and important? Do you see it in other places? I personally, the first time I saw that, I actually had a little laugh to myself. I was like, I don't know, why this is here. But let's type confirm to delete the account. And delete the account right here. All done. We're all deleted. So account terminated. You can go ahead to deleting your bucket too. So let's go ahead and find your S3 bucket over here, and let's delete the entire bucket. Select general purpose buckets from the side. And then you can select your bucket and select delete. And you'll just need to empty your bucket before you delete the bucket itself. So classic S3 rule, delete everything that's inside before you delete the bucket itself. So I've just emptied the bucket now, and I'm gonna go ahead and try deleting the bucket again, where it should be successful. All right, and yeah, let's go. Let's delete this bucket. And I think we're almost done. I think we have one last thing to do actually, which is to just check if there are any IAM roles or policies that were created, because there's a good chance that there was a QuickSight role created for us. Yeah, there was. So we've got this service role that was created. Do we delete this? I mean, you can decide whether or not you want to delete a role. The cool thing about roles is that they're free to keep. So for this one, I'm just going to keep this one. I'm not too sure whether or not I might need this in the future. So I'll just keep it for now. But it's totally up to you for yours. All right, interesting. Well, now that everything's deleted, we're ready to do our wrap-up quiz. Let's see how much you get correct this time round. You know, we had a good go last time. We got 2 out of 5 last time. But I think we can definitely give this one another try and see what new things we've learned. All right, first question. What is the role of manifest.json? Is it A, it tells QuickSight how to interpret the data in the S3 bucket? Is it B, it contains the actual Netflix titles data? Is it C, does manifest.json manage user access? Or is it D, does manifest.json encrypt the data for security purposes? I hope the answer is a bit clearer now because we got to try out manifest.json over this project. So what do you think? A, B, C, or D? How did you use manifest.json today? answer is A. We did use manifest.json to tell QuickSight how we should interpret the data. Now, we did not use QuickSight to do any permission settings. It did not actually contain the data. It was just simply telling QuickSight, hey, a CSV file is coming your way, and this is the location of the file. So why do we use filters? Do you remember? We actually use filters inside our QuickSight visualizations. Did we use it to A, change the chart type? Did we use filters to B, improve our dashboard's loading speed? Did we use filters to go C, manage data source connections? Or D, to narrow down the data being visualized? And Israel? No, this is not a replay, this is a live. So welcome, welcome. And what do you think? Is it A, B, C, or D? What is the primary purpose of using filters in QuickSight visualizations? So we use filters today to narrow down the data being visualized so that we could narrow things down to, well, how do we use it? Do you remember? Afolavi has the right answers. Nice work. How do we narrow it down? We narrowed it down to the specific categories we wanted to focus on: action and adventure, TV comedies, and thrillers. Those are the 3 categories we used, and we also narrowed our items down based on year, so that it's like all the TV shows and movies in those 3 categories, and also released from 2015 onwards. So we used filters twice. That was pretty cool. Why do we uncheck the Add Paginated Reports option when we signed up for a QuickSight account? Why is it important to uncheck this option when we sign up for a QuickSight account? Is it A, to avoid charges, B, increase spice capacity, C, make sure our email address is valid, or D, to select the correct AWS region? What do you think? Yeah, I think this option, unchecking Add Paginated Reports, was so important. It meant a lot, even though it was a simple uncheck of a checkbox. And for us, it makes a $500 difference. You know, if we were to leave that checked, we would be charged quite a bit for this add-on that we don't actually need. So let's avoid being charged when we uncheck the Add Paginated Reports option. Do you remember where that is? Do you remember where that is? I think I can easily jump in. Yeah, this thing. Let's always make sure we keep this unchecked. Okay, this is the thing that we don't want. And actually, it's not even called Paginated Reports anymore. It's called Pixel Perfect Reports. Well, even if the name changed, doesn't mean they stop charging you random amounts of money if you leave it ticked. So don't forget to keep on going with our quiz. So what's the primary purpose of using S3 in this project today? How do we use S3? Was it A, to enable real-time data streaming? Did we use S3 to create visualizations? Did we use S3 for user authentication? Or did we use S3 to store the dataset and manifest.json file? I hope we're all like chanting in unison. D, store the dataset and manifest.json file. That's absolutely what we did. It was the first thing we did in this project, in fact. And that really set us up for a successful project. So shout out to S3. Now, this S3 bucket does not create visualizations. QuickSight does that. Real-time data streaming, we have other services for that. I think one is called Kafka something, and one is called, I think, SQS might handle data streaming, but we do have specialized services just for data streaming. So We don't use Amazon S3 for that. And user authentication, AWS IAM handles that. So S3 is great for storage, always. So in Amazon QuickSight, which section did you navigate to connect your S3 bucket? Do you remember which page we used? Datasets, visuals, analysis, or dashboards? It was the, pause this now, have a think. It was the datasets page. That's where we went to navigate to the connection setting to connect to data sources like S3. So well done. We nailed this quiz, guys. We got 5 out of 5. Congratulations. And now all that's left for us to do is to share your work. So the quick link to sharing your work is to just click on this last item in your contents menu so that we're jumping all the way down to selecting mission accomplished. And here we go. Let's check out what we have for our documentation today. I'll be showing you guys how we can add it to your portfolio and also how you can add it to a LinkedIn post. So let's download our documentation. And first of all, I'm going to add it to my portfolio. So let's select Save Documentation. And sometimes it takes a bit of time for our documentation to save, and that's totally okay. And in the meantime, you can, once that's done, you can also save it as a PDF, okay? And while you save it as a PDF, you can view the project in your portfolio. I think it looks really good. I think it looks really good. I can't even see it yet, but I think it's gonna look really good. I'm excited. Okay, while we wait for that, we can also generate a social post. So let's see our LinkedIn post, see what it looks like. Oh, great. And while that LinkedIn post is opening up, the PDF is ready. Oh my gosh, I love it. We've got so many pieces of data like coming in and out. And you can see that we've got a recap of everything that we did today, the things that we uploaded, the information that we now know about QuickSight, downloading the data set, the visualization we first created, the filters that we used, how we set up the dashboard itself, and then how we even refreshed our source data. So this is a lot of beautiful information, all packed in one piece of documentation that you can add to your project portfolio. And in fact, this is already in my project portfolio now, and I can see that it's now a tile inside my portfolio. It looks awesome. I'm pretty proud of it, team. So I hope you enjoy, and in order to add it to your LinkedIn post, don't forget to tag Nextwork here. So you can click this and put an @ in front of Nextwork to tag us, plus close this preview, open up, add a new document, and let's go ahead and add your PDF. So you can add a title here, so we're going to call it Visualize Data with QuickSight. And this is a documentation for it. And we've got a great question in the chat here. So shout out to Afolabi for asking, can we edit the documentation after we download it? Pro students can edit documentation after downloading it, and for everyone else, usually when you edit your documentation or when you add an answer, the moment you click submit, you have locked in your answer for that question. So editing your documentation is something that you get to have access to when you're a pro. And you can simply click on edit answer to start editing straight away. And then once you edit it, it's going to get reflected in your updated documentation too. Cool. I hope that's clear. And I think our LinkedIn post looks beautiful. Look at that. We've got a nice recap of what you did today, plus your documentation has just been generated, and you can share that right away too. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking part in this amazing project on analyzing and visualizing data with QuickSight. Now, do you have any other project you'd like to see? How are you feeling about tomorrow's challenge and day 3 of the beginner's challenge? We're going to be tackling cloud security with IAM. So I'm excited to see you there. Take care in the meantime, and do tag us when you post your documentation. I'd love to show some support. All right, everyone. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, and Israel, the next one is same time tomorrow. In fact, you can always catch up to date on the latest updates in terms of the next class or the next stream by checking out the live tab in our Nextwork YouTube channel. So when you're in our YouTube channel, you can find the live tab, and it tells you we've got us live right now. So it's like liveception, but you can see when the next ones will be. It tells you when it's scheduled for. So I hope to see you then, Israel. And thank you again, Francisco. It was so much fun to see you today. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.